The same effect in the front is that kick-up, that angle of the front arms. That is also casted. It adds to, collectively with that block, the total of those two equals how much cast is in the car. The Outlaw kits come stock with the 25 degrees block. The Procom kits come with the machined aluminum, and that's 35 degrees. When you run the more pickup, and it's going to sound like a free lunch, but it'll keep the car more stable. It'll drive up off the center easier with a little bit more forward drive, in part because the arms are helping push the car back towards the rear. Taking pickup out, you'll feel the car a bit more aggressive in the center. It'll want to come around itself a little bit more, or it'll turn more center off, or the more likely description for a low bite track like today, it's going to be it comes around itself faster. It's just too much front end there not to get it to the rear. With 35 degree kickup blocks, and then the block itself, they're either 0, 5, or 10 degrees. You can turn the block around the other way and subtract that amount. So for this left front on my car, it's 35 degrees plus a 0 degree block, so it's 35 and 0, it's 35 degrees of caster. The right front, and this is where we get into an extreme, but it just seems to help. It's 35 degree kickup plus 10 caster, so it's at 45 degrees, that kingpin. Adding caster to the right front will help the car collect itself easier, especially center off. Laying the left front back, sometimes make the car turn more in the center as the tires come down. It can feel like with standing the caster up, like it'll also get into the center a little better. So I'm at plus 10 and 0, and I think they're the same.
For the people that have been to the seminars before, I always talk about the kickup. That is huge on loose dirt. If you guys don't have 35 degree kickup blocks, it's definitely something to really, really think of. Because going back a little bit, it helps both ways. You know, you off power, you gain more entry in most times. But then when you go to pick up the throttle, you know, you gain it more drive off. And there's only hubs is the only other adjustment that I can even think of on the car that you gain both. You usually, if you do something, you take away from something else.
That's that free lunch part
yeah,
of it. There's nothing wrong with a free lunch.
But I mean, always run on loose dirt 35 degree kickup blocks.
We try other things when it's just fun to try stuff, and because the opinion, and to be honest to my words, are when you see things at an extreme, you think, okay, why are we working so hard there? What could change on the car and bring this adjustment more closer to something that's more conventional? And we haven't found it yet. It's like we're almost on a witch hunt to find something where we can take the pickup out. Because one of the things you get with all that is when you turn the tire and you have all that angle, is you get a bunch of camber. So much so, I think for my car, it helps settle it down. Where when the car is sitting, sitting like this, and the wheels are dead straight, I'm actually leaning the tires to the right a little bit. And the left front's been, I think, leaning in 1 degree. The right front's actually leaning out about 2. However, when I turn the wheels, you can all see it right here now. When I turn the wheels, now the right front that was out 2 degrees in a heartbeat is now 7 degrees of camber. And the more camber you have in, the more that thing's going to want to hunt the center and come off, center off and hook. So by taking some of that camber out of there, because I've got to turn the wheel to make the corner, and because all this kick up makes the car easier to drive, it's just a crutch to me at this point. But it's been 2 years worth of success, of why. So taking that camber out and actually leaning it the wrong way when it's straight makes the car feel like it comes up off the corner easier, and it feels easier all the way through the corner.
Is there any trade-off tire contact to the road to the track with that much caster?
Not so much we're seeing, because the tire will roll because of the carcass and so much that foam membrane in there. If it was a foam tire, yeah, that's why we have those little spindles to help counteract some of that. But just having the amount of camber in it, though, I mean, it's, who cares about contact patch as long as it's turning? I mean, that's where the big car stuff gets into trouble, or if they go for camber, who cares about the tires? They'll sell more, but the car handles better. But then they, it's a cup thing, they wear out, they overheat one side of the tire and blow out a bead, or something like that. So we'll wear the inside of the tire out, because that's how they had to get their car to turn. They couldn't get it to turn with other parts. They might have something that's just a little too dominant somewhere else. So kick up the caster helps there. What do we got? Yeah, I think we'll get on to the points of what's making more hay here, and specifically on the cars. One of the newer things on the scene, I think in the last year, is a 4-gear transmission. Theory in that is it's the torque of the motor. I mean, it has like sort of a kind of a gyro effect on the car. Helps, I'd say the best way to describe the feeling of going from a 3 to a 4 is when you grab the throttle, it straightens the car up faster, quicker, which here is not, would be your friend. The 3-gear we've always run has a way, when you get in the throttle, it'll help keep the car turning. It doesn't kick it loose. It just, for whatever reasons, torque of the motor, it's in jive with it. I give you an example where this wouldn't be probably a friend. The 4-gear would be if the track was almost like a perfect circle. It wouldn't want to turn on power naturally. You probably want to stick with a 3-gear. Maybe last year's track, for those over here, last year's track was a lot more ground. I started out the weekend on the 3. He started on the 4, because we wanted to try to mate our cars. We could, even though we like different differences, we could still be close enough on cars to say, man, this is, the 4-gear is always doing this for me, and the 3-gear is always doing this, so we can help share this and help understand it ourselves. But this weekend, I'd say guys that have bought a 4-gear or borrowed one, or have went, wow, this is another step up, another good step forward.
And then you can feel it in your hand with the 4-gear, that the torque of the motor kind of pushes back towards the rear of the car.
It's probably like what torque is in the radio.
Right. But it's been a lot of the stuff that we try. We try different things, and we end up going back to the same as we were talking about earlier. But this is something on the loose dirt, especially here, that has been a really, really nice fit for the car. Basically, you add an extra idler gear, and with the case, it comes with a different. I don't know if you want to show them on that car, but it comes with a different block right there, going from the rear bulkhead to the actual transmission. But other than that, that's all. That's all you do. The transmission fits in the same hole.
I think he's saying the carbon mount.
Yeah.
For mounting, replaced with the normal mount.
Yeah. And basically, it fits right in. And the only thing that you might have to do is unsolder your 3 wires and go around the other body way of the body post, because now your motor is on the other position. But
I think one last thing, especially for loose dirt guys, so we're always talking about things we try, and then things that we always come back to. And tire-wise, you hear, you think, and we all fear it, even us, that, oh, I hope we brought the right tire. In this race is what, 6 or 7 years now? We've brought, with tires that we've raced, there's been 2 different rear tires, 2 different fronts. It's either been the rib that has been around for ages, and then much newer to the scene are these scrubs. The ribs are good when the track's really loamy. There's a lot of, tires will cake up. That's when the ribs are good, like when you first redo the track. If you ran these scrubs then, they'll just load up with dirt, push, and the tires will load up with dirt, and they're not going to work. These are a shiny star when the track gets grooved up. with the ribs, you end up, car will cut in, great, no problem. Goes to come off, and you got each of these ribs, and it's kind of like when I was talking about the motor cogging, each one of these little ribs is catching the car, and it's like no stick, no stick, no stick, and it upsets it. And when you have all these little ones, it just keeps it smoother, and you actually find your car turns in about the same, but it might be a little tighter off. So it actually, you gain some stability. Now we'll borrow against it. We'll move the wing a forward hole, or it might take some weight out.
In my first round, I ran scrubs on my late model. And the car was really nice. I felt like it could cut a little bit more, so we had that 15-minute practice, and I put the ribs on there just to see, and it hit every groove in the track, and basically almost wanted to just turn the car in a complete 180. So again, I'll just go back to the scrubs this weekend. I would think if you, I don't know if any of you guys are driving a truck-based EDM or something like that. We don't, even though we don't make one of those, you guys are in the first 3 or 4 heats. You would definitely want to put a rib on for that occasion. And otherwise, it's just going to build up, like Arnie said, with dirt, and you'll have no steering.
What's your thought on balancing tires?
It'd be great if they didn't fill it with dirt. I mean, once you get a couple pieces of mud in there, the work's over that. And if the track rubbered up, I mean, I was going to say this, for as much as it rubbered up around, it really didn't wear the tires that bad. Typically, if it rubbered up like that, the pins would be gone, and you did that work for 1 4-minute run, and you got, man, I hate to swear some tires out, but you also put that into it. Just slug them together. I think I'm going to stay on your point, but I'd like to go on another one. The rear tires over the last, this race 6 years old or 7 or 6. We've brought to race 2 different tires. It was the inside job, and now it's been the HBI Pink Gigabyte. I don't think that this tire is magic to just this place. Everywhere Nathan goes, and we kind of joke, it's been like marriages, like he's been tied to the tire. And when the inside job was available, the tire was a lot flatter, and it looks, pin size and style is a lot the same. And it was part of, I mean, every race that he's run, that was the only tire.
Hard to get, so.
Yeah, they discontinued it, became hard to get, and it's like, okay, now you're out on the street, what are you going to do? So he was trying different tires, kind of like a dating scene, and he's found this tire, and he's like, he says, it feels like it gets off the corner just about as good. He said, but it seems to also turn in on better. And you'll notice they have, if you look at, you've seen an inside job on somebody's car, you'll notice that they're a lot more round. The tire comes with the foam insert. We don't even trim the edges. You slug the thing in, glue it, and go. And it's just been that. And Nathan said it before. It's like, take one thing that you know works, or you see working, and just let it be the constant. And especially if it's a tire, it's the most dominant thing on the car.
You bring a box load of tires, with 10 different compounds, 20 different types by all kinds of manufacturers. You spent all your track time, on tires, when in all actuality, all you should have done is stick to the one tire that and tune your car to that tire. I know there's quite a few people that carry a box load of all kinds of different tires, and I think you get caught up in that. I think if you just stick with one, and then just work on the car, all the stuff that we've been talking about throughout the night, you're going to be way better off at the end, because you won't even get a chance to tune on the car, because you're too busy changing and doing different combinations of tires to even get to changing the car.